The question is, the letter says that they need to mail in their contact information, and can they do that online? I would follow the letter of the letter. If it says mail it in, I would mail it in. If you get an email, it's probably not going to hurt to respond with the email so that it's sent twice. But if they say send it by letter, I'd send it by letter.
And I would also, as a general practice, do it online as well. But remember the MAX or WPS, each of them may have their own different requirements. CMS isn't mandating, they're just giving that to the contractors. So you'll see them, some of them will allow you to do it electronically, whatever, but follow whatever your letter says.
Do we have another question? Yes, sir.
Our company's on a fiscal year. Can we just start this at the beginning of the year? Or is that?
Okay, so his question.
His question is, they're on a fiscal year, but can they collect on a calendar year?
So yes.
And the answer is yes.
Remember, if you do not respond to the letter, you automatically will go calendar year. If you want to do your fiscal year, they give you that option. Our suggestion is for you to follow whatever your accounting principles are, because it's going to make it easier for you when you're inputting the data, working through that process. But that is entirely your decision.
Any other questions? Thank you. Those are great questions, and we appreciate it. We do like the feedback. We like questions. Every single time we teach this, we get a question that nobody's thought of. It amazes me. You think you've heard it all, and nobody could possibly come up with a question you haven't been asked before, and every time somebody does, and it's always been really, really good learning experience, so we appreciate it. So Section 1, there's 13 sections to the cost data instrument. Section 1 is just your general survey instructions. The thing to keep in mind is that they are going to pick one NPI. Does anybody in here have multiple NPIs? Okay, so they're going to tell you which NPI it is. On right there, that NPI, it will tell you which one. So you do not, we'll get into how you allocate it, but you're looking at the one NPI. So throughout the instrument, it says organization. Keep in mind that when it says organization, it means this NPI, not necessarily your whole. When it's asking questions about does the organization, provide 911 responses, they mean this NPI. So the section 2 is your organizational characteristics. If you guys want to follow along, that's fine. But anyway, CMS just wants to know who you are and what you do. They're trying to get a feel for how you categorize yourself. Do you have more than one NPI? What is the name of your organization? And there again, that's kind of the example I gave. Is it, ABC Ambulance Inc., or is it ABC Emergency Medical Services Inc.? What's the name that is over this NPI? They want to know who do they contact? Who's the contact person for the cost data survey instrument? Who do they call or get in touch with if they have questions, or your data needs to be clarified or something like that? That's what they want to know.
And the one thing that I want to say here, guys, when you start walking through the tool, and this is the part of the tool that we're going to start going through, and it's this handout here, which is the final data collection tool that's on your table, is when you start to fill out the organizational characteristics. While this is not something that they're looking at right now, it doesn't mean that they won't take this data to compare against what you put into your 855 to see if you are accurately filling out your 855. Okay, so when you went through your revalidation process, a lot of people lost their Medicare number, or they were suspended because they didn't do the information correctly, or there was conflicting information with their 855. Remember, this data collection tool is asking you to input data in. All right, so remember, data is only as good that comes out as we put in. But it also can be used as a checks and balances to other systems, which we're starting to see now. So I am encouraging everyone that was selected this year, because you guys are kind of the beta people in this first round of sampling, is to ensure that this information that we're talking about is indicative on your 855 or in the PAYCO system. So theoretically, what you should be doing is looking at your PAYCO system and matching it to your data collection system. If the information is wrong, the contact information is wrong, you need to update it in your 855. What you don't want to happen is this information in your 855 conflicts with the information in the data collection tool. Does that make sense? So if you don't know what the 855 is, your first question should be going back to your billing agency, which a lot of y'all use, to say, I need you to send me what you filled out on that 855 or in that Payco system. And they can do that for you. That should be your first request, takeaway leaving here today, to go back to your billing agency and say, I want to see how you registered me with the Medicare program. And then anything that's on there that is incorrect, you need to get that updated and fixed. Because that's the information that you really want to make sure that you put into this whole organizational characteristic piece of this tool when you start to fill it out next year. That makes sense?
So I know if it's done right, our 855 is gonna put the chief of our department as the contact person. He's just gonna forward the calls to me, so when I put this information in as to who to contact, can I put me or should I leave it as the chief, because that's what my 855 is gonna say?
So if your 855 says your contact information, the contact information I'm not so much worried about.
Okay.
On that piece of it. I'm more worried about if your organizational names are different, your address information, all of this information that she's going to go over is different. The contact information,
I would, if it were me, I would put you.
yeah.
Once again, I'm not an attorney, not your attorney. I'm just saying I would put me to make sure I get it.
Well, because I know he's gonna do is, hold on, let me transfer
Yeah.
you.
I'm okay with that piece of it because
Yeah.
it's more the authorized individual on there. But if there's other information on your Paycos and the Payco system that is contradictory, you need to get that fixed. Contact information.
You can have more than one authorized individual, and you might want to update your Paycos to add you as well.
Okay.
So you can have multiple, yeah, that's the easiest way to do it. So I would, if you have a billing agency or you are the chief or the head duck of your organization and you are not familiar with this, I would get familiar with it. Even if you have a billing company, get a login. Get with your billing company or whoever does this for you and say, I need access to this. You need to be checking it on a routine basis.
Because there's a lot of other information that you're required to.
Okay, here.
We won't
no.
get into that whole spiel.
Now I like to give this little hint because I like to see the faces in the room. How many of you know that every single time you change ambulances, you get a new, you retire an ambulance, you get a new ambulance, or you change this one from Unit 4 and put it to a backline Unit 8, that you have to update your 855B. You have 90 days.
You don't have to admit it if you didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, but you
No,
really,
you're not alone. You're in good company.
So when you say the log, you're talking yes.
The NPPS, I would.
Anytime there was a question here to just confirm what she was saying. Anytime you change a unit, you should be updating. You have 90 days to update your Paycos. Anytime you change a base location,
Yeah, if
you
you
have
have
90 days to update.
if
your
you
Paycos.
move substation addresses, if
Anytime
you
you
add a new
change
substation,
leadership.
if you close.
You have to update your Payco system. And so if you don't know what your 855B is and you just let your billing office handle that or your billing agency handle that, that should be your first red flag alert that you probably have old information on your 855, and hence the reason why we're telling individuals, get the information so you can validate its accuracy, not just from organizational, but you're gonna see the vehicles they listed, the practice locations or the base locations and their addresses. So if you're not sure what we're talking about and you've had changes within your organization in the last few years, more than likely your 855 is not valid.